Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Oh, we're at the end, Drew.
And a hello to you too, mate. Come on, remember these things are a celebration of what has gone, not mourning the past.
You really are very wise, mate.
All right, comes with being very old, mate.
Just remember, you said that, not me. But enough about you being ancient. Are you ready for another collection of highlights, Drew?
Yes, I am. And it just so happens these are all our best bits from the past 13 weeks.
Yes, indeed. So, listeners and watchers, please enjoy Drewling Samantics, Season 14, Best of Us.
Yep.
Hello!
Hey!
We're back, mate. We are back.
Fabulous
Season
stuff.
14. Wow.
14, mate.
14.
14. I don't know what that means, whether it's a coming of age, I don't know. 14.
I mean, it's not like our teenage, because we had that last time. Last time was the bad luck or the superstitious.
Yeah.
So this is the boring second teenage season.
Yeah.
What an intro. What a way of making what people want to join in and listen and watch, and by going it's going to be boring. It's not going to be boring. I'm telling you that now.
It's certainly not going to be boring, mate.
We don't do boring. But it's something that's becoming a lot more common, I would say, in the arts. There are sort of these where you go to events and locations where a lot more improv is coming into performance. Like there might be some framework or there might be some bits of scripting and stuff. But yeah, I think quite new.
I think you're right, Sam. I mean, I think there are. It's being set up, and we've talked about the immersive work and the kind of dinner theatre thing that we've been doing. How we met and what and before and after the unwelcome guest and how it's continued. And I think there's a lot. I think it's grown because people really want to get involved more and more. It's like escape rooms and things like that. People like hands-on experience. And I think what we were doing at the weekend is that people, they know what to expect. Well, they know who to expect, not necessarily what to expect. They know they're going to a hotel, they're going to stay for the weekend, and there are various elements that you describe that take place. But then there are those moments where we don't have anything. We are just within the characters that we're playing, very well recognized. So there are demands upon you from that point of view, because you have to be in character. You have to give them that what they expect that character to say and do. And then and as you say, there's the pure wild card of they're in a hotel, there they are, Mr. and Mrs. Jones have travelled all the way from wherever to be with you for that weekend, for that length of time. And go, and they expect us to be in those characters, to stay within those characters. And like you say, some of it's scripted. But then there are those odd moments where someone does something or says something and you have to run with it. Yeah. You have to go with it. But within that character. So being within the character, I don't know how you find it, but it's a gift because you're 50% there because they know what you're going to do, but you don't know what they're going to do. But then there's also then the challenge of doing something new within that character that you wouldn't have seen that character do within the TV program. So you're pushed a little bit further. I think that's the fun part. For me, that's the fun bit of adapting now to where the audience are taking me. Because as you say, it becomes very popular. So the audience do set you those challenges. They do want to go one step further than maybe the television series went, previously.
You play the Dame, or more often than not, you have obviously.
I have done, yes.
Other roles, but most of the time you play the Dame character, the eponymous male dressed as a female. Everyone in the audience knows that's a man in a dress, but for some reason, everyone on stage is completely oblivious to the fact that really obvious man is a man, not a woman. A great role with, I guess, slight differences every time you do it because there's a rotation. As you said, last year you did Red Riding Hood. Was that last year or was that Easter? Sorry.
No, that was last year, last
That was
summer.
last year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but they sort of rotate. So there's maybe what, 8 different sort of traditional pantos? Would you say?
I think
Something like
it probably is. Yeah, I mean, and they're adding more on now. So, yeah. I mean, yes, I think there's, yeah.
How do you find the fact that what you're essentially doing is playing the same role quite often? Like, is that one of the reasons you do so much? Because you really like being the Dane character, and let's face it, as much as they are different names each show and slightly different sort of storylines, you're regurgitating a lot of the same lines or very similar lines, very similar bits. Like it must feel quite repetitive. I mean, Panto's repetitive anyway because when we've done it previously, most of the time you're looking at about 40-ish performances on a run for a Christmas Panto where it runs over those sort of like 6 weeks or so. Shorter runs, obviously, less performances. But as you said, you did 4 days, but in those 4 days you've done 16 performances. So it's very, very condensed.
Yeah.
Add that on to doing it at Easter, doing it at Christmas. How do you find basically doing the same thing over and over and over again?
It's the challenge of keeping it fresh, of bringing something new. I mean, if you're like I haven't done long periods of time as Dame in a venue, but certainly very good friends of mine and people that we've had on that are regular panto performers very often get attached to a theatre, and very often there's a couple of friends of mine, Damien Williams, Brad Fitz, Ben Roddy. They've been dames in their particular theatres for getting on 10 odd years. They are the figureheads and the stables, and they will do stuff because the audiences expect them to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, and very often even if you're a dame for 1 or 2 years in a venue, they'll go, well, the dame always does this, the dame always does that. We expect that. So you have to fit into that pattern, but you make it your own, and to keep it fresh. And there are always different things, but I think it's the joy of playing. And the other thing is, of course, children come and go. You know, they grow out of panto, they grow into panto. So, you know, probably every 5 years there's a new audience, or there's an audience who love to come back and do it over and over again. For me, it's the joy of doing that again, over and over again, and still staying fresh, still making those, you know, old gags work.
This never goes well when I have to try and guess stuff.
No. All right, there's an old one, which I probably know more about than you, given the fact that I'm ancient, as old as, you know. Thanks for nodding, Sam. Thank you for that.
I didn't say anything. I thought it's a podcast. I'll be nice, but we are on YouTube, and I did nod. Yes, you are ancient. Yeah.
So, All About Eve, a very famous film, All About Eve, and people misquote the line, fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Oh, yeah, no, I've heard that. Fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Yeah.
Right. And lots of people say that as a kind of, they think they're using a film. And actually, it's a tiny little thing, but it's actually, fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy night. And she says it as she's going upstairs. Yeah. Which is kind of, you know, anyway. So, okay, do you know the one from Forrest Gump? The very famous line from Forrest Gump?
Life is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. Is that?
Okay. So it's actually, the full line is, it's good. Mama always said.
Yeah, Mama always said,
life was like a box of chocolates. And it's interesting because it kind of changes the meaning a little bit. But, and also, it's where he's sitting on a park bench, isn't he? Eating chocolates when he says it. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so life.
So that's a past tense one for multiple reasons, because I think, spoiler alert, his mum had passed away at the point that he's saying that line. So Mama always said rather than Mama always says. But life was like a box of chocolates. Well, yeah. No,
life was like a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've got more. Shall I go on?
Keep them coming, mate.
Right, I'll fire away. Okay. Dorothy, Wizard of Oz.
So it's either like she says, there's no place like home when she does the heels, or is it the what's the dog called? Toto. Toto. We're not in Kansas anymore. Is that the?
Yeah, that's the one everyone says. Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Again.
But some of these are so tiny. But this one is Toto, I've a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
All right. So what it's sort of happened there is it's been almost colloquialized, like almost slightly modernized language. Yeah.
Because I know I've gone in directories before. Years ago, there was a whole hoo-ha about, I went for an interview for someone and they said, oh, yeah, give me your photographs, give me this. I'm putting out this actors directory. It's going to hit these number of desks, blah, 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 blah. It's going to hit these number of people. But I'm going to charge you 120 quid for putting the directory together.
Yeah.
And I sat there and thought, I don't have 120 quid. Do I invest 120 quid? I'm already a member of Spotlight.
Yeah.
So do I invest another 120 quid in a directory that's probably not going to get the coverage? And then I backed down. I went, no, I won't. But other people did. And there were several of these directories kicking about at the time, doing pretty much. And they were, and Equity went, don't pay upfront fees. You don't have to pay upfront fees. And these companies were taken to court. People's money was recovered. Yeah. So in that essence, whether they were acting as an employment agency or not, Equity took them to court and they beat them. And certain people took out county court, small claims court judgments, got their money back. So those directories, and I'm talking 20 odd years ago, they were proved to be illegal and it was against the rules. People can, when they go to see, like Secret Cinema, they see that they are part of it. They dress up or whatever, and some of the shows that we've done, dinner theatre shows, we've done Hello where they all come dressed with stripy shirts and garlic around their necks and berets on, which is brilliant because they are part of that. But also, a lot of improvisation and a lot of fun that is literally throwing you something. Go for it, and it's always that. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to shut you down. I'm going to run with it. And wherever this takes us, it's not my fault. It's your fault. You've done this. Let's go for it. And that also makes it exciting. But as you say, we have to stay in character. So there's also that demand from a purely acting point of view, of maintaining that character under all circumstances. Like even when we take a little break and maybe, have a drink in the bar afterwards, which Basil Sybil did often in Fawlty Towers. Sybil sat at the bar quite often. So if Sybil's sitting there with a glass of red wine or whatever she's got, and people are coming up chatting, you chat to them as Basil, Sybil and Manuel.
Yeah.
And that is very interesting because, and I don't know about you, but they really push sometimes to find out who is behind it. So where'd you come from? Barcelona. No, where do you really come from? Spain. No, where? Barcelona, Catalonia, I understand. Talk, and you have to, talk it as much as you can. And it's interesting because sometimes that, I've done it where it's got to a point where they've almost got pissed off.
Yeah.
They've almost got, where'd you really come from? Barcelona. You're like, no. Come on, guys. It's interesting.
Why are there people who are so adamant they want to trick you or break you?
I think that's
it. Is it because they're uncomfortable?
It's exactly that.
Like,
I think it's because we, and I don't, the phrase is wrong, but we have the upper hand. We are in charge. And I think they want to win a little bit back, or they want to trick you or something like that. And I never do it. And the more people do it, the worse I get. I just don't understand them. Why do you want to know? Oh, you want my passport? You with the government? Are you a policeman? I just go right into it. But I don't know why people want to do that. I don't know. Sometimes it's genuine interest. And I always say, ask me again tomorrow. Yeah. Because then, after breakfast at midday, I'll be out of character. If you want to come and find me then, then we can talk. But now, enjoy. It's that funny thing that we spoke about before, of people sometimes not being able to just give themselves over to the experience, relax, chill out, and go with it. It's a funny one.
It is odd, and I mean, you always get it that again in the sort of immersive world, there will always be someone who they want to one up you, and I don't understand why. There are some people that obviously don't find it comfortable, but it's difficult because you want everyone to have a good time, and you don't want to ever put someone in their place, so to speak. But when you can quite obviously see that person is trying to have a laugh at your expense, but at the actor's expense, not at the character's expense, that's where I'm like, you've opened yourself up to this. I'm in a position where, as you say, I've got the upper hand because I am protected by this character. I mean, particularly in this sort of scenario. In fact, a lot of the characters I played in immersive shows, Basil Fawlty is quite rude and abrupt. He doesn't always mean to be, but he has that power there. Back in the days gone where we used to be able to do Only Fools and Horses tribute shows, again, I played Boise, who, again, very in-your-face, abrupt, sort of loves himself. Or Trigger, as an example, thick as shit, essentially, so could get away with most things by just being oblivious. So these characters almost have that power to be able to kind of win in any situation. And in fact, if you look at the shows that work as immersive shows, immersive dining experiences, it is always about characters who either always win or always lose, but that's where the humour is. They've always got that sort of outcome. And for someone to try and go, right, I'm going to try and break this down, it is really negative, and it's nice to be able to have the power to kind of go, no, you're not going to spoil everyone else's enjoyment of this. You're not going to try and derail what's going on here just because you feel uncomfortable. We would never want someone to specifically feel uncomfortable, but there's a way of dealing with it. And I know not everyone is particularly good at it necessarily, but I would say the majority of people I've worked with, as performers, we are able to see when someone is uncomfortable, and you don't play with them.
Oh,
you don't push that.
Yeah.
It's different in stand-up comedy because that is very much a case of, if you're uncomfortable, I'm going to seize that opportunity and really, really kind of take that. In what we do, you'll push boundaries and you'll sort of tease people. But when you can really see someone's uncomfortable, that's just going to make everyone else uncomfortable and yourself by pursuing that. So you sort of step away from that. It's the ones who want to beat you, which I've never really understood.
I've never really understood that.
Yeah. You've opened this up. We're going to end it. Inevitably, there are going to be moments where you go, oh shit. Where am I? What am I doing? Which character? Which accent? Which lines are coming up? But I think the skill of it is, and not that it's an element of forgiveness, but the majority of the audience understand that. Like, they know all the sort of promo material and everything advertising the show says this is what rep season is all about. Like, we are doing these multiple things, like, so people take that into context, but even then it wouldn't be noticeable things. And I'm sure there were occasions that you can think of that you thought, oh god, that went slightly awry, but no one would know. So,
it's interesting because you know that's a possibility, and we're right on a knife edge. You know that if we do a technical, we try to do a tech in the morning, which is literally lights and sound and scenery, costume changes. And what we would do is do a cue to cue. So every time there's something happening technically, you cut the rest of the scene and just work to those moments. So someone says, I got a quick change here. Right, let's do the little bit around that, the light change, the sound. Okay, is that okay, everyone? Yeah, right. Cut until the next cue. Literally going from cue to cue. And then we would do a full dress rehearsal in the afternoon. If something went wrong, fine. You've got to keep your fingers crossed it ain't going to happen that night. That's when that's the rehearsal. You go, right, let's hope, keep our fingers, well, not keep our fingers, let's make this a clean dress. No, and if you do dry, if you do forget a line, if something goes wrong, you got to keep going, because there ain't no help in the evening. There's there's no one there. You've got to solely do your own thing. If something goes wrong, something's always going to go wrong. But if you forget a line, there ain't going to come a prompt. That's just not going to happen.
No.
It doesn't happen ordinarily.
No, exactly. And it's no different to normal, other than the fact that you've got 2 or 3 other scripts rolling around in your head and going on at the same time.
It's more likely because of a shorter rehearsal period. And as you say, you're lugging around, a show you're trying to forget, one you're trying to learn, and one you're trying to perform. Oh, well, I mean, we've got to do this one. And I think probably people know this one. Oh, I mean, I think this one, it's obviously it's a series of films that I've never seen, so I couldn't attest to this. You know the line. Darth Vader says...
If it's what you've never seen, then it's Star Wars. That's
yes.
Okay. In which case, it's got to be Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And it's got to be Luke, I am your father. But I know what you're going to say, because I
know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you'll know it.
And again, this must be because out of context, it doesn't make as much sense. So the actual quote is, "No, I am your father," isn't it?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
It's been changed to Luke because he's talking to Luke, and if you quote it without knowing that, then you don't know that, if that sort of makes sense. So
yeah. Exactly. You're not going to know that. Well, you're going to know it's Darth Vader, but you're not going to know to whom he's saying that, because no, I am your father could be anyone.
Yeah.
So I think that, and I also think, I don't know how true this is, and I was reading a little bit about how these things happen and how that people lock into the Mandela effect. Some of these lines are put out, misquoted deliberately by film magazines and by the film company.
Right.
They I don't know how true this is. It's maybe purely popular myth, but some people have said they put the misquote out because it's a catchy line, So it's like, you're going to need a bigger boat. We're going to need a bigger boat. Those lines, a stream of thought is that a school of thought is that maybe these things have been put out by the film companies as little catchphrases, as little sound bites. Even though they're wrong, they don't care. It just gets you talking about the film. Because then people go back like we're going, no, he doesn't say that. He says, you're going to need a bigger boat. It's like
people trying to spot continuity errors and stuff, I guess. Like there's a couple of famous ones. I think in the first Spider-Man film, he throws someone through a window and then it cuts to another shot and the window's got the glass back in. Or Harry Potter's wearing a different coloured T-shirt. Maybe we should look at these in the future.
That would be good. Yeah,
a few
it's like was it? There's a I can't remember. It was old police series, Cagney and Lacey. Do you remember that one? American pop series. They're inside the office. But office on the door just reads the right way round, whereas it would be back to front because it would be on the outside of the door, on the glass door. And it was so, and it was pointed out to them, to the production company, and they went, "We're not changing it, we're leaving it." Because everyone knows it now. Everyone knows in Cagney and Lacey, when they go in the office, everyone's going, look, there it is, they haven't changed it. And it became
really famous, is it Game of Thrones? There was a Starbucks cup in shot.
Yes,
Huge mistakes, which people then go, well, actually, was it a mistake? Because look how everyone's talking about it.
And all the actors are going, no, it wasn't me, it was her, and she left it and I didn't leave it. And no, it was, so it's become one of those apocryphal things. You think, no, someone's done it. It's like we will do these, but in El Cid, the old film El Cid,
right,
which I think is Charlton Heston again, there's this massive scene, huge crowd scene, these massive gates open, and he enters into these, and there's thousands of extras, literally thousands of extras. And right by the gate, there is a props man in a white coat with his arms crossed. He's massive. You couldn't reshoot this. It would have been just ridiculous. So they had to leave it in. And years of people are going, look, there he is. And if you freeze the scene, you can see little guy standing there in a white coat. Everyone else is stripped to the waist and all in their Arab gear and armour and goodness what else. And there's a little guy in a white, one of those like white lab coats standing by the gate, ready when you are, kind of thing. Brilliant.
Hey,
Good morning, good afternoon, welcome, Sam. Look at that little smug face. You've been on your travels, haven't you?
oh, I see. Well, yeah, mate. Can you see the tan? Am I looking? A bit
No,
brown?
I mean, I would be surprised. I'd be annoyed if I saw a tan, but so tell everyone where you've been. Where have you been, Sam?
I have been to the exotic isle of Jersey. I've not been that far. Let's be honest. It's not. I've not been round the world. I've been. In fact, funny thing. It took longer to drive to the airport than the flight. Like, yeah. So it's not far to go from London. That is true. But yes,
And also, I mean, I accuse you of going on a jolly. You have been working,
Oh
Sam.
God, yeah. I mean,
you've been working.
yeah. Don't give ideas to the bosses, thinking that when they send us away, we're living life and enjoying things. God no, working hard, mate.
No, working hard, no enjoyment.
To sort of quantify and what have you. Yes, we love what we do. So we're lucky to do our job every single day. And there are the odd perks. In fact, we did a whole episode about perks of the job and stuff, didn't we?
We did.
And one of them is that sometimes you do get to go abroad or get to go to different countries, wonderful places. And I was lucky enough that this weekend I was doing a couple of shows in a hotel in Jersey. I say this weekend just gone. And it was lovely. It was really, really nice. We were treated really well. The audiences were great. The shows went really well. So yeah, it was a real pleasure to be there, and very, very lucky to be able to say that as part of my job, I got to be abroad. I mean, equally, I'll just to sort of give another side to it. What I earned was just the same as if I'd been doing shows in this country. So I didn't get like supplementary for being away and didn't get paid travel days and stuff. It was literally a case of if I'd done 2 shows in the hotel across the road from my flat, I would have earned as much as I did doing this. So there are sort of ups and downs to it in that I had to spend 3 whole days away where I could do no other work, only earning what I could do in 2 evenings back home. But equally, I got to go to a nice place and it was really successful. So there you go. There's the 2 sides of it. I'd certainly rather be on the side of it of going to a nice place and performing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there we are. But and what about you, mate? I know you've been on your travels too.
Yeah. All right. It may not be quite as. I mean, and this is no slur on Manchester, but I took a trip up to Manchester, and there was no chance of any tan there, mate. I can tell you that.
But it was a successful trip, though.
Yeah, it was. We've got a big costume, a big skin, a Rudolph skin, which we don't use every Christmas, but we rested it last year. We had a big snowman costume last year, which is beautiful. But obviously, every time it's used, it gets cleaned. Maybe not completely all the fur and everything because it's a long process, but we certainly have the inside cleaned, and so anybody and then the next person wearing it will be comfortable.
Just in case there are any young children watching, Drew hasn't literally skinned Rudolph.
Oh no.
This is a costume for a lookalike for Rudolph.
It's a body double. Rudolph's body double. When Rudolph's not around, this takes over. Yes, absolutely.
I can hear all the children crying now, mate. Skinning Santa's main reindeer was pretty mean.
Yeah, all right. Very funny, Sam. A mere slip of the tongue. I promise all the girls and boys listening that Rudolph is alive and well and will still visit this Christmas, nose all glowing as usual.
How about refreshing our drinks before we dive back into some more memories, mate?
That is a great idea, Sam.
Right, I'm back and ready for more.
Me too, buddy. Shall we see what other nonsense we chatted about?
Ah, well, you never know, mate. It might actually be something serious and intelligent.
Doubtful, but let's find out, shall we?
Is there something you've done and you've gone through and you go, I never want to do that again, but not because that was perfect, but because it just wasn't for you?
I'm trying to think. I don't think there is.
Tell you what, I'll answer. as
Go
much as
on.
my own question because I've got one that springs to mind straight away. Um, and again, this isn't I would never ever do it. I absolutely hate it, blah blah blah. But it's just something that in my mind I wouldn't necessarily pursue because it wasn't. It didn't feel like it was my path to go down,
Okay.
and that was drag. Um, or playing a dame or playing a sort of a cross-gendered role. I was in a musical called Pageant, which is about an American beauty pageant, but it just so happens that all the contestants are men dressed as women. And I enjoyed it, and I worked with an incredible team. Like the production company and the other actors, performers were phenomenal, and we had such a laugh doing it. But it didn't feel like a role that I was all of a sudden, oh my God, this is what I want to do. Like, you know, when you get into a certain thing and you're like, this is it. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of dames, for a lot of
Yes.
roles. You do that and you're like, this is where I need to be.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm going to be doing. Doesn't mean they can't do other stuff and doesn't mean they don't do other stuff, but you sort of go, this is almost my niche, my area, the thing that I am best at, feel most at home doing, most comfortable doing. Yeah. And I had the opposite feeling to that. It didn't feel natural for me. I mean, I was able to do it and we got great feedback and obviously I enjoyed doing it, but it didn't feel like this is something I'm going to pursue a lot. I would do it again, absolutely. It's great fun. But it's not my path to go down, I don't think. People will have heard of the phrase the post-show blues.
Yes.
The things being over, and particularly when you've when you've immersed yourself in a cast and you've made new friends and you are spending your life with these people and they become your family temporarily because they are basically the only people you see ongoing.
Yes, they really are.
Yeah. So when that suddenly ends, and particularly if it's been a very heavy duty show, for example, it can be really, really disappointing, upsetting, because all of a sudden life is completely different and that's feels like it's been torn away from you. How is that with rep? So I've not done rep to the extent that you're doing, or you've just done it and have done it previously. Because surely you can't necessarily get attached to a show in the same way because it's been and gone so quickly. So does that create a whole different atmosphere to things?
It's very interesting because you really get into doing a play, particularly the first show of the season, because you that's the only one that you've rehearsed. It's the only one you've had any contact with. So you do that show, and then you start to rehearse the next one. As soon as that opens, you start the next show, but for that first week, that's just been all you've been doing. You know, you've rehearsed it, you get it on. And that one, but then you go, oh, we got the next one, and then you're into the rep thing. Then it kicks in like, okay, we're doing this one now. We're blocking, we're rehearsing the next one. We start the next day doing the moves and everything, and I've got to go and start thinking about the third one. You know, so you don't get. It's the energy of each one. You go, really love that, great stuff. The next morning you go and you've opened that show. It all went well last night. You're into the next one. The energy is like, yes, let's do the next one. And you manage to. I don't know why it happens. Maybe it's because I've done a bit, but the mental changeover is very. And then all the plays that Sue programmed are very different to each other. You know, we started with a thriller. The next one was an Alan Ayckbourn comedy. Next one was a thriller. Then the next one was a light persuasion, like Jane Austen comedy of manners. And the last one, you know, so that your energy and your head can jump. But it was interesting knowing that the third play that I did was Strictly Murder, which, as people, people who listen, my favourite play, and I was playing the role that I love, and I knew it was coming to an end, but because they've all ended, it was easy to go, right, finishes on Wednesday night, time to go home. I've got something else coming up. Yeah. It's interesting now because, and that didn't never happen before. We're in the company WhatsApp group. Yeah. Other messaging services are available, but we've got a company WhatsApp group. Yeah. So I'm still getting the messages. which is lovely. So this morning, I'm pottering around. I had to take my car at the garage, blah. And I'm coming back, sitting back, coming back on the bus from the garage, and I'm getting messages through coming. Has anybody picked up any milk? Does anybody have a coat they could lend me for this? I'm getting all the messages. I'm sitting there going, "Ah."
I was going to say, does it tug at the heartstrings a little bit because you're sort of like, I'm not part of that anymore.
Probably one of the most famous ones.
Go on.
Big Fish, baseline, Jaws.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
on board the boat, Roy Schneider says,
"We're going to need a bigger boat."
Yeah, he doesn't.
Oh, what?
Tiny little, but it's interesting because he he hires Quint and he says you're going to need a bigger boat.
I mean, to be fair, that makes sense. Like,
because he's saying to him, you're going to need a bigger boat, but they're all in it. But also, the interesting thing about that is a little bit like when Harry met Sally. I want what she's having. That line was ad-libbed. That's not in the script. It's an ad-lib. It's a Roy Schneider ad-lib. Yeah. So yeah, he ad-libbed that line. So popular theory has it. Yeah. So he says, yeah, you're going to need a bigger boat.
Right. Okay.
Brilliant.
Subtle one, but it's not
subtle one, but again,
it's not what we all remember. So
he smashes up the radio. I'm turning the page. Oh, here's one. I think this is lovely. This is a really nice one. Wall Street. Okay, Gordon Gekko.
Gordon Gekko. It's really simple, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 words.
Greed is good. Greed is good.
Oh, you're really good at these. You're really good. Yeah.
Well, you say that. I'm good at remembering things, and then you're correcting me. So I'm
but the thing is, you're remembering what has been perpetuated by the Mandela effect, as you call it. Yeah. And it's actually a much longer line.
Oh, okay.
And the point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for the lack of a better word, is good. That's
literally been shortened, almost deliberately shortened as a sort of memory.
Because I mean, in essence, that's what it means. Greed is good, is what he's saying. But it's a much more erudite line, shall we say?
Yes.
But yeah. It's interesting because you were talking about small budgets and getting into a costume, and as you know, I did the summer rep this year, and a lot of that, apart from when they do the period stuff, it's like, because of the limited budget and the limited resources, I kind of worked out my costumes for it. And for the middle play, I had 4 costumes.
Wow.
So it was 4 looks. It was, and 4 different periods. So, the first one was a dinner suit with dinner jackets and bow ties haven't changed for 150, 200 years, 100 years, they're the same. That wasn't difficult. The next one was a teacher in the sort of headmaster, and I had a tweed suit. I had a school tie, an old school tie, brogues and everything. And then someone said, "We've got a teacher's, what they call them, I can't remember, gown,
capes or gown."
Yeah, the black gown. They said, "We've got one. I know one. A lady said, I've got one of those. You can have that. Put that on." Instantly, headmaster. I mean, I looked like all the headmasters from all the Carry On films and all the, all the old sort of, 50s and 60s school comedies. There I was,
Yeah.
But it was interesting using my clothes. A lot. I mean, 75, 80% were my clothes, and you're putting them in and you're thinking, I've worn this suit, to go out in, but now I'm wearing it as a character. And it's like, it has a different feel because it's on stage, and I've got a tweed jacket, and I wore this tweed jacket at numerous plays, self-tapes and all the rest of it. And every time I wear it's different when I wear it for that character, if you know what I mean. It's no longer Drew's jacket. It's, John Smith's jacket, who is, a detective constable and blah, blah, blah. It suddenly changes. And for the period of time you're wearing it, and I lovely, I got to play one of my favourite parts, Joseph in Strictly Murder. And his costume is complete. I spent 3 days, and I think I told you, breaking down a pair of trousers, shirts and everything to make it look like he lived in a ditch.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in my digs, rolling the trousers in earth and spraying my coat with stuff. And I mean, my landlady must have thought I was barking. But when I put it on, I felt and looked. I thought, no, it feels right, And I'd done it myself. It's like I made, and many of the dames we spoke to. One year I spent 3 months making dames costumes for myself. I produced 12 costumes. Because I made them, I love them anyway, but I made them to feel exactly how I wanted them to look and feel.
Talking of improv and having improv skills in amongst other things, it brought my mind round to, if I said to you, who are simultaneously the most difficult, but usually the most entertaining audience, who would you say?
Oh, I go with children.
There we go. Improv is an enormously important skill with children where they have some kind of influence on what's going on or some kind of input. I'll give you an example, and I think it's perfect. I did an audition a little while back for a children's show. Sadly, didn't get it. It was I don't know why. I think it would just, things didn't tie up correctly, or perhaps the group of actors that were brought together had to have a certain sort of way of working, and maybe I was too old, too tall. Who knows? But it didn't sort of work out. But it was a children's show where the children were allowed to sort of make suggestions. And part of the audition was getting it back on track. So obviously there weren't children there at the audition, but essentially you were given a bit of script and you go up to this point, then you get a suggestion from the audience. And then here's the next point you have to get to, and you have to do so, almost kind of like a roller coaster. Like, you get up to that point, you've got to bring it back down and around again. And it was about a fairy tale, something to do with, I think, the Three Little Pigs or something like that, or Three Bears, something along those lines. And the suggestion from the casting director playing a child was, oh no, an alien spaceship has come down. And at that point, you've got to deal with it. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was quite pleased with my reaction. But it's like we said, it has to be a yes and. You can't go,
yeah,
oh no, that's not a spaceship, that's a plane. Anyway, chat. Because it almost kills the energy, and it's not the way of it. So you have to
it also steals the idea from that child. That child thought about that, and it wants you to talk about its spaceship.
Yeah.
If you say, no, it isn't, the child then has all its imagination quashed and taken away. Or anyone does if you say no to it.
No, exactly. I mean, again, there are the times where, and particularly in that sort of scenario, you will get the odd person, be it child or adult, who goes, I'm going to really try and ruin this now. It is not unheard of for that to happen. Fortunately, it's not too common. Yeah. But you'll always get one little snotty kid who's like, right, I'm going to really mess this up. And this stupid person up here pretending to be blah, blah, blah is not going to know what to do. And you get that just as much from adults as when we do the immersive stuff.
I think what I wouldn't do is put myself in the position where I didn't think it was good casting for me. I did one play many years ago, and I knew I wasn't quite right. Yeah. When I went to the audition, I thought, I'm not right for this. But the production team said, oh yeah, you're exactly right. And I thought, I'm not. And I think I would, and I haven't done it since, put myself in that position. But that was one where I thought I shouldn't be in this show because I'm not right for this part. And I did it to the best of my ability, but I was never happy. And I think the audience weren't happy with my performance, or we're going, why is that guy playing that part? I had to I did have to manipulate lines, and I'm sitting there looking at the director going, really, is it too late to recast me? Because if I was you, I would recast me. And I pushed through, and it's like, So that was one situation where I felt I was badly cast, and I wouldn't ever do that again. I wouldn't just take the job for job's sake. And I didn't, because it was a fringe job, and we never made any money, and the producer ran away with the money anyway. So
there's a story for another day.
There's a story for another day, yeah. Things that people have never said.
Never said at all?
Never said. It's been attributed to them, but they've never said.
Right.
So, one of the famous lines from Star Trek.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Never said.
Never said?
Never said. The nearest he comes to is Scotty, beam us up. And that's Star Trek Voyager Home. And that's the nearest he ever comes. He never says, beam me up, Scotty.
Wow.
The nearest is Scotty, beam us up, is the nearest.
Unbelievable, because that is a really famous quote, but it's not even a quote.
No. Another one almost, there's a couple actually. There's a couple from James Cagney. And it's a quote that I used to say, because I love James Cagney. And I used to say, I'm on top of the world, Ma. And and it's not. It's made it, Ma, top of the world.
Oh, really different then?
Yeah, really different. But what's the famous James Cagney line? Probably, if you were doing an impersonation of James Cagney, what would you say?
You dirty rat. That one.
You would. Yeah. And most people, never said it.
What?
He never said it. He said, no, I mean, that's not totally wrong. He said, and several times, in one movie, Taxi, he says, and he's standing by a door with his guns pointed at the door saying, or a gun, come out and take it, you dirty yellow-bellied rat, or I'll give it to you through the door. And otherwise, come out or I'll shoot you through the door.
Yeah.
And then the other day, another one, the day I die, he says, listen, you dirty rats. But he never actually says, you dirty rat.
Standalone. Wow.
He was given, and the only time he said it, he was given a Lifetime Achievement Award by the American Film Institute. And Frank Gorshin, who was an impersonator, a very famous Las Vegas impersonator, did the famous impression and said, you dirty rat. And Cagney, in his acceptance speech, says, oh, by the way, Frankie, I never said, you dirty rat. And that's does the impression back and fed it back. Yeah, which is brilliant.
Incredible.
One more I'm going to end on, because I think it's just one to end on. Someone who never said it in the books. Sherlock Holmes never says, elementary, my dear Watson.
Never.
He later said it. They wrote it into, I think, one of the TV series in the film, but he never says it in the book. It's completely made up.
So it's not a Conan Doyle...
Not a Conan Doyle quote at all. Yeah.
Wow.
Never says elementary, my dear Watson. But I mean, at the end of all that lot, it was just me having a real nerd out there. But isn't it interesting how all those lines that we've taken for granted have come about, as you say, by this Mandela effect, and just us making them popular. Wow. But I mean, all those are from massive movies. So it just goes to prove, like, it proves the effect, really, doesn't it? Because we've all gone through our lives. I mean, I've done you dirty rat joke impressions since I was a little boy, and never said. It's extraordinary.
In fact, I'm sure, isn't there? And this is really obscure, and we are going to finish before I go off on a tangent. But don't they quote James Cagney as saying "you dirty rat" in one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films? They do an impression of it, so they're getting it wrong as well. And having said that, I'm sure, does Jim Carrey do an impression of Dirty Harry in Bruce Almighty?
And
so there are misquotes that are then re-quoted as being misquoted. Oh, wow.
Woody Allen made a film way back in the 70s called Play It Again, Sam. So joins in on that, and he would have known, because he was such a film, but he would have known that's a misquote. But he made a film with Diane Keaton called Play It Again, Sam, about a pianist.
Mad.
Isn't it amazing?
The power of costume to do half the storytelling for you, or a portion of the storytelling for you. And I mean, we've worn weird and wonderful stuff. There are quite a lot of times where you have to wear your own things, and that also comes into, just to remove some of the glamour, perhaps, again, of what we do. There are times where, if you don't provide your own things, you're going to end up being uncomfortable, because some companies will provide, but because they're constantly working and they have a large group of actors, what's available is, should we go with generic fit? I think that's probably fair to say. Not everyone is 6'1". Not everyone is 2'8", or whatever you claim to be. So certain companies will have to go, look, we have to be realistic. We have to go for an average. We can look at the 5 or 6 actors that we have who always play this role, or we can look at the sort of average size of 30 to 50-year-old man in the UK, and we can go within that. But they can never, if the budget isn't sort of unlimited, you can never accommodate everyone. And obviously, it's different in film where normally you are dealt with as an individual. But there are always going to be limitations and stuff. And yeah, so.
Also, on that note, with these smaller companies, I mean, you see on the casting breakdowns and all the platforms, very often it will say, "Looking for a policeman." If you have your own uniform, and you think any actor on there with their own uniform, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, whether they look like what the character is, they're going to get the job because they've got a bloody uniform, And it's like, or if you get role play jobs or corporate, you've got to have your own suit. And again, it's one of those things we've spoken about in the past of having things in the wardrobe or things in a store cupboard that you never wear, and you think, oh, that's it. It's going to be the suit this week, or oh yeah, I've got to wear.
Yeah. Do you think it almost encourages you to become a little bit of a hoarder as a performer because you'll sort of go, oh, I'm never going to wear that again. That's really out of fashion, or I don't like that, or that's not something that I really that suits me. But in the back of your mind, you go, but what if?
Exactly.
It's intriguing. But equally, there's nothing quite like, and this is a little bit of a confession here. There's nothing quite like knowing you're about to do something, and the production team have gone, look, we can get this in, or if you're happy to source, we can sort of sort you out with the budget, and we can refund, reimburse you. Go into a charity shop to find a costume. I love it. I don't know what it is about it, but obviously there are limitations. It tends to only be sort of if you're playing a character who is normalish and within the last 20 to 30 years time scale, because you don't often going into or finding props, things like walking sticks and glasses and stuff like that. Just there's something magical, I think, about it, because you feel like you're building that character.
There we are. Mate.
Do you know what? It feels like absolutely forever since I last saw you. I mean, it has literally been, well, it's a couple of hours, isn't it? Because we got together this morning. I mean, and we're talking in podcast world here, because actually this isn't the day the podcast comes out, because that's after we've edited and blah. I'm talking rubbish. We're clearly doing an episode. Hooray!
Bring us back down to earth, Sam, please.
I don't know. I had sort of a minor moment there, I think. But
just a tiny moment.
Actually,
yes, what?
I do have a question for you, mate.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Go, hit me.
Can you name all the things, or the majority of the things that we love at Drewling Samantics? Things that we're really big on at Drewling Samantics.
Okay, well, first and foremost, anyone who's listening and anyone who's watching us, we love our subscribers and our fans, of course.
Yeah.
We love a good guest, and we've had some brilliant ones on all our episodes. We love a segue. We do love a segue. We do love a bit of banter.
Yeah.
A beer, and in my case, a good strong cup of coffee.
Yeah.
What else do we like?
You're missing a big one, mate. You're missing a big one. We love. Get ready.
Go.
We love a milestone.
Ah.
And you know why I'm saying that, don't you?
I think I might know where you're going with this. Come on, Sam, tell everyone.
Today, and genuinely boggles the mind that I'm able to say this, and this is absolutely true. Today, this recording, this one we're doing right now, is our 200th episode. 200 of the bastarding things, mate.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, we've said this on a couple of other milestones, but I mean, we get to 200. It's kind of like, did we ever think we would do more than 20? I don't know about 200.
Mate, 2 was beyond my sort of.
Well, that was, yeah. I mean, it is extraordinary, and it's. I mean, I say this, and I'm, with all, it's been an absolute pleasure to do these with you, mate, and with obviously with all the guests we've had on. It's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, I was thinking about it, thinking, we often say to ourselves, "Oh, do you remember that? Do you remember that?" You think, "What episode was that?" And you think, "How can I forget?" Well, after 200, it's not surprising, but in case you forget.
And actually, I find a lot of the time it's not going which episode was that; it's going which season was that.
Which year?
Yeah. Madness, but nonetheless, it's not a celebratory beer, I'm afraid. But cheers to you, mate, and cheers to everyone else. If you've been with us from 200, from number one, I mean, for all 200, thank you so much. And we must be doing something right if there is anyone like that. And if you're just joining us now, there's 199 to go back and find. So
there you go. It's a big archive.
But yes, cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers, Sam.
Well, there was no other way to end this highlight show, really, mate. We've hit many milestones throughout our time podcasting, but 200 episodes is quite the impressive feat.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I put up for you for so long, to be honest, Sam. No, seriously, it has been wonderful, and I'm incredibly proud of both of us.
Yeah, we should raise a glass to celebrate, buddy, but not specifically for 200 episodes, as we've already kind of done that. How about still being able to stand the sight of each other after so many shows?
Yeah, we've earned a break, which is exactly what we're about to have.
It is indeed, but I'm sure it'll fly by. And I'll be back from Neverland, and you'll have returned from Santa's grotto before people have even realised we were gone.
Well, let's hope so, Sam. Well, all that's left to do is say an enormous thank you to everyone who has watched, listened, commented, liked, shared, and helped Drewling Samantics continue to be as successful as ever. We are eternally grateful to you all.
Yeah, we are. Have a fantastic Christmas and New Year, everyone. We'll see you in 2026.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks again for watching this special highlights episode of Drewling Samantics.
Remember, you can watch all our previous episodes in full, and make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.